Hi, hello, welcome. Welcome into my stream. I am, this is the second of 12 blocks, 12 2 hour blocks. I am streaming for 24 hours in support of Extra Life. And I'm going to be playing a bunch of solo tabletop. Diggs, hi. Welcome to chat. Yeah, I'm going to be playing a bunch of solo table TTRPGs. And the one we're going to be playing in this block is called Beloved. Let me just grab the link to it. It is by Percy Propa, at Percy Propa. And if you want to find a copy of it, got you covered. There you go. But as I said, I'm doing this in support of Extra Life. So let me just throw that link up as well. Yeah, I wanted to do something. I only have just started streaming, so this seemed like a good opportunity to play some games and show off some solo TTRPGs because I feel like they don't get enough love. And let me just quickly throw out a tweet letting folks know that we're thus into the second block. Just gonna retweet some other stuff. Thanks to everybody who came around for the first block. Depending on where you were, thank you for getting up early. I know if you're in the Eastern time zone, it maybe wasn't horribly early for you, but anybody in the Pacific time zone, thanks so much for stopping by. Yeah, so just gonna quickly tweet out. Yes, I know it must be very exciting to watch me type a tweet. I apologize for that. Let's get that out there. All right. See if we can pull some more people in. Yeah, I wanted to play some solo TTRPGs and just sort of show off some of that stuff because I feel like it doesn't get enough. I feel like they don't get shown off enough. You know, it can be hard. I mean, they are solo games after all, and so just the you know, not everybody wants to come and watch one person play a game. Part of what I think people enjoy is that sort of personal interaction between the players at the table, in an AP, and you don't necessarily get that with, well, I mean, you don't get that. You can have like a very entertaining solo player, but you're not going to get that sort of like byplay between people the way that you would with sort of with a standard AP. That said, I still wanted to show off a bunch of really good solo TTRPGs, because I think that is something they've always been around, and certainly there's been a lot of games that have had the option to play solo, but not not to the extent that we've had in the last little while. I mean, the solo TTRPG variety has just exploded, and it's fantastic. There are as many different types of solo games as there are, I think, group TTRPGs, which I think is fantastic. And that's sort of what I'm trying to show off today, is that there's, so if you missed the first block, do go and catch it on VOD. I'm also going to be uploading it to my YouTube channel. But that was a perfect example of like something that is something you would never consider. It might not have ever occurred to you that that would be a thing. But the game I played in the first block, Fire Sauce Fever Dream, by Amber Hodgson, uses Cootie Catcher, one of those. Well, I've got it here still. One of these as its mechanical device, and it is a journaling. It is a journaling game. So this is how you get your prompts for what you're journaling about. You are essentially just, for whatever reason, you've ordered your Taco Bell food and decided to eat in, which is a weird choice, but that's what you're doing. And so, this is how you do it. And it is, it was a ton of fun. But just the, like, it was based on the Folds SRD by Fleet Dietrich. I highly recommend going and checking them out as well. They both Amber and Fleet are brilliant designers in the space, and well worth checking out. And so we talked a little bit about like the possibilities of design, using fortune tellers as the mechanic in like a group game. So instead of like something like a Powered by the Apocalypse, instead of having like a playbook that has all your playbook stuff written out, maybe the first thing you have to do is build yourself. You have to like build and write out your fortune teller, so that when you get to combat, you then use that as your sort of resolution for what's going on. Also, I just like the visual picture of, like, so if you're doing something that is, say you're making an opposed check, either with the game master or with one of the other players, of the two of you just like furiously, like just doing this at each other, like just furiously, that visual tickles me. So definitely showing off solo TTRPGs is something that I wanted to do with today. But the primary reason I'm here is that I'm raising money for Extra Life. I've dropped a link in chat. And if you don't see the link, if you type in !Extra Life, all one word, that'll bring up you can see that I've set a goal for myself of $1,000, and I am currently $738 of the way there, which is absolutely outstanding. But I would obviously love to crush that goal today. I would love to crush that goal this morning, actually. So, I would love for noon to roll around and have to like bump that goal up. So, But if you do go through to my donation page, it has some absolutely fantastic stuff there. There are incentives for like just starting at like the $10 level. Some incentives for you, basically around that. If you donate, I will make things for you for your tabletop role playing games. So please go check that out. But let's jump into this blocks game since we got a little bit of a late start. Let's get right to the gaming. So today we are playing Beloved, which is a game by Urania Games. In Beloved, we are going to play a children's toy. A children's toy who has spent its life sort of, with and guarding a child. And so we're going to come up with the type of toy we are. And the type of toy we are, the type of child we're with. There are several acts in between, like, we're not with the same child the entire time. We could be with a child. Children sometimes, toys fall out of favor and then come back into favor, and who knows why. But yeah, we're going to start making our so we're going to start with let's see here. What type of beloved? So there's a number of different types of beloved. We could be a doll. I'll read the description for it as well. The doll, a mirror and shadow made in the image of your creator. The stuffed toy, warm and soft, a comfort for those who hold you close. The puppet, though your voice is not yours, the lessons you teach are. The action figure, a facsimile, a replica, taking on an identity of your own. The ornament, fragile and frail, you are an observer, an overseer. And the unintended, never meant to become, you have still answered the call. So I'm going to say, unless chat has like do you have a strong opinion about which one of those you think I should play? I think I don't really have a strong opinion in any way. I mean, there's a couple of them that sort of stand out to me, but like, nothing, no one that leaps out. So I may just randomize since there are 6. Let's make this easy. So 6-sided die. And I rolled a 6. Ooh, the unintended. So, yeah. So I am something that was not intended to be like a beloved toy of any kind. It may not even be a toy. It may just be like, I don't know. I guess we'll figure that out. But yeah, you know how sometimes kids will just latch on to, like, for some reason they'll go through a period where, for whatever reason, it's just really comfortable for them to carry around like a kitchen whisk for weeks at a time. Yeah, so something like that. Ooh, I like that idea, actually. Maybe I'm a kitchen whisk. All right. And then turn to Act 1. Okay, so first let's go to because I have to answer some questions about So the unintended, and I've got my pad of paper here for writing down stuff. You were created accidentally in a moment of temporary play, gaining sentience nonetheless. What are you made of? Who is the child that made you? How do you feel about being formed from nothingness? Write down 3 traits that embody the unintended beloved that you have become. You may draw your unintended construct if you wish. If you do, remember to clearly show that this was a toy, never truly meant to be a toy. Hodgepodge, improvised. Hold on for a sec. Yeah, that's what I forgot to do before I went live again. I do take my coffee black, but I do take it with sugar. So hold on. Oh, that is not as bad as, say, having a mouthful of mint flavor and then biting into an orange. But it was darn close. Yeah, let me just properly adulter my coffee here. And I know listening to me stir is probably not the greatest, but here we are. Okay. Sorry, I'm just going to take a sip to get the taste out of my... Okay. 3 traits that embody the unintended beloved that you have become. Well, I'm not an artist, so I'm not going to draw anything. I think I'm sort of grooving on the kitchen whisk idea. So yes, I am an unintended. The kid discovered, my child discovered me in like a kitchen drawer, and now I am just the best thing ever. And so, sorry, I'm going to pop chat up on the side so that I can keep, in case anybody has anything they're saying or anything like that. Welcome to anybody who has dropped into chat. We are playing the solo TTRPG Beloved in support of Extra Life. If you can see the you still see the link in chat, great. I'm going to pop it up one more time, but if you don't see the link, if you type !Extra Life, you can see that. So there it is again. That'll take you through to my donation page. Anything you can donate today is greatly appreciated. I'm doing this to help sick kids. That's one of the reasons why I think this game, Beloved, feels appropriate to like help start my day. So far, I am an unintended beloved in that I am not a toy. I think my child went exploring in the kitchen and found this like it's tucked away in a drawer because it's one of those big old whisks. Like everybody gets one thinking that they're gonna like do so much with it. Like I'm talking like a big whisk, like, you know, one of those, you might use it in a professional kitchen if you're making up an enormous bowl of like, you know, eggs or something like that. But very rarely would you use anything that size at home for cooking. So it was maybe like a wedding present or like a Christmas gift that just got tucked away in a... But regardless of how it got there, my child found me and thinks I am the greatest thing since sliced bread. And so I am the toy that they cannot be without. They burst into tears if whiskey is not. Oh, whiskey. Yes. Yes, my name is Whiskey. My latest name is Whiskey. That's actually one of the beloved questions, so we'll get to that. What 3 traits? Well, I am definitely sturdy. I'm a big steel whisk after all, so I think sturdy. I'm going to say rattly. Because like I'm a big sturdy steel whisk, but like you've got the wires that all sort of like bend around, and if you shake it really hard, you'll get that sort of, you can get that sort of they'll rattle against one another. I imagine like for a kid that would be like very satisfying just to sit there and make your toy make that noise for hours at a time. And I mean, large. If I'm one of those big whisks, I'm probably like half the size of the child. Like, let's be honest. You know, like, all right. So then, having got those 3 traits, you then write down the questions about your beloved. Oh, and it suggests some traits down at the bottom. Let's see if there's anything down here that I want to. Oh, okay. These are some, like, everything I wrote was like physical stuff. I think definitely. Actually, one of the. I'm going to take confused. I'm going to swap out rattly for confused as one of my traits. The conceit of this is that, like, I have, because the child has turned me into a beloved toy, I've sort of woken up and gained a limited bit of sentience. But I think I know I'm a whisk, and so I'm a little confused about why I'm not doing whisk things, like why I'm not in the kitchen, like doing stuff like that. So, yeah. And then confused is a good trait. So I'm sturdy, confused, and large. Which, I mean, honestly, I think I'm, self-inserting myself into this beloved a little bit. But moving on. Sorry, I'm just going to take a acetaminophen. I'm not going to say a brand name because corporations suck. So, but all right. So let's answer some names about my beloved. So, what is your latest name? I mean, I think whiskey with an IE. The child wouldn't know that has any other meaning beyond the fact I'm a whisk and therefore I am whiskey. How do other beloved feel about you? Well, I mean, they're all like dolls and stuffed animals and action figures and puppets, and like they were made to be toys. They're made to be played with. This is their job. So I feel like it's sort of like, I fell into the promotion that they wanted. Yeah, so I sort of feel like the other beloved are not big fans of whiskey. And I mean, that can vary from beloved to beloved. I just think overall they're not huge fans. They may still be polite and stuff like that, based on their nature, but um, yeah. Do you ever worry about not being the same as those around you? Well, I think yeah, I think that feeds into the confusion. Is that like I'm a whisk? I'm supposed to be like in a kitchen mixing stuff up, and I'm not. Instead, this kid drags me around and talks to me and uses me like a sword, and you know, props me up in a chair and tries to feed me tea. Like I don't know what's going on. So um, so yeah, and of course, like all the other toys, it's just really awkward. Um, so um, how do children attempt to play with you? Well, I mean, like I said, they play with me like I'm a toy, but um, arguably a lot of the time because I have a handle, I do get used like a sword or a club or something like that, like a magic wand or something, um, a lot, um, which is all very exciting, as my child runs around pretending to fight like ogres and dragons and things like that. Um, um, Only once did my child actually use me as a club. Um, they hit their sibling, and then I got taken away, and there was much tears and gnashing of teeth, and I didn't like it because I didn't like being used as a club anyway. Like pretending to hit things is fine. Actually hitting things with me, not so great. It bent one of my wires, which I wasn't a fan of. Um, but it also upset my child, who like screamed and cried and everything else. Um, are you happy knowing that you think and therefore exist? That's a big question. I'm a whisk. Like, I'm just like a lot of empty air. So, I mean, am I happy? I don't know. I'm not being used as a whisk. I'm being used as a children's toy, which is just a little odd. So, I mean, I guess I'm not unhappy. Um, you know, um, I'm probably spending a lot more time thinking about being a whisk than I would have otherwise. Um, so, but I don't know that this question wants a maybe. I think it wants a yes or a no. So I think, no, ultimately I'm not happy. Um, I'm not being used the way that I think I should be used. I'm glad I'm glad my child is entertained by me and stuff like that, but um, I'm not being a whisk. I'm not. There's no satisfaction. There's no job satisfaction. Um, you know, Unless I stick it out and this kid like keeps me around and grows up to be like a chef or something like that. I don't see how this is going to work out for me. What beings do you most empathize with, construct or biological? I'm going to say construct. And I say that because I think part of sort of now that I've been turned into this, like, brought to life and turned into this toy, um, it makes me wonder about like all of the other all of the other items in the kitchen. Like, what would it take to wake some of them up? Like, is there a, if it wasn't me, if the kid didn't fixate on this whisk and turn me into like a beloved toy, was there a possibility that they were going to, like, I don't know, um, like turn a wooden spoon into a beloved toy, or I don't know, like a knife or something like that, like a chopping knife? Can you imagine? Um, but so like I'm wondering, like, is there, and would I know if there were other sentient kitchen appliances? Like, maybe adults can love like a particular, like a good carving, a good kitchen chopping knife enough to make it like sentient. But then would I know that? Is that on the same level as a beloved? So yeah, I think these are the things that occupy a great deal of whiskey's time and thought. Because I think there's, again, whiskey is just a very large kitchen whisk. He doesn't have arms, legs. I'm going to say they, actually, because I mean they're a whisk. They don't have a gender. So they just, you know, so yeah, they have a lot of time to think about this stuff because they just get used as, like I said, a sword or something. They get swung around. A lot of play happens to them, but not necessarily with them. So, and then the last question of the beloved questions is: the older you grow, the more you can feel yourself beginning to weaken and losing thought. A rarity amongst beloved. Are you afraid? No, I don't think whiskey is. Because, you know, they woke up, they're confused, they don't really understand what's going on. They're doing their best for their child, but they know they're not a toy. They know the other toys don't really want them here. And at the end of the day, if they lose this, whatever this is that makes them sentient, you know, they will turn back into a kitchen whisk and get used in a kitchen, whereas potentially like a doll might get rehomed or tossed out or something like that if it gets too old and worn and stuff like that. Whiskey is a big steel kitchen whisk. Even if they are getting a little, maybe a little worn or a little beat up, they've probably got like plenty of whisking time left. So I think in a weird way, whiskey is actually looking forward to the time when maybe they enter the dreaming in between children and don't wake up from it. So, all right, there is our very, very strange beloved, a beloved kitchen whisk named Whiskey, who is sturdy, confused, large, not really liked by the other beloved, by the other toys. Feels awkward, doesn't feel satisfied, empathizes more with like other constructs than they do with like anything biological. So, and basically looking forward to retirement. So then we move on to the children. And so this is where we pick our child, basically. Thank you and welcome to folks in chat. If you haven't already, please, I am trying to reach affiliate, because affiliate status on here means that I can unlock tools to then start charity streaming and stuff like that, which is something that I'm looking to do in 2023. There's other stuff that I have to do as well, like minimum hours streamed and stuff like that, which I am working on. But that's all stuff that I have control over. The one thing I don't have control over is followers. So if you are new in chat, I'd appreciate a follow. By all means, I do this when I follow a channel. Follow me and then turn off notifications if you don't want to be bothered with any of that stuff. Totally understand. I do it too. So, but follow is definitely appreciated. And yeah, actually, I'm just going to quickly check something. That's why, yeah. Perfect. I'm going to save that. In the first block of the stream, somebody mentioned that like alerts were coming in, but they were being hidden underneath the extra life, banner at the top. And indeed they were. So I moved them. So now alerts will appear somewhere actually visible. All right. So now we have to pick a child. And this is the first child. You do have the option. So you don't have to necessarily, like, even though you have to pick a new type of child, it can be the same child that you've been with. You know how children go through periods of being like just absolute holy terrors for like about 2 months, and then suddenly they just become shy, and then suddenly super cheerful, and right, they just go through this because they're kids and they're figuring stuff out, and they will go super hard in in a direction. This is my first child, so who do I want to start off with? A shy child who keeps to themselves, dreamy child, a bold child, a cheerful child, a wild child, a sweet child, a quiet child, a lonely child. I think, actually, you know what? I think it's very fitting. I'm going to pick a lonely child. I feel like a lonely child is a child that would, embrace a whisk as their beloved toy. And I think, so I have to answer some questions. About my lonely child. What do they do for fun by themselves? I think a lot of storytelling. And I think that's where whiskey comes in. Whiskey ends up being everything from like a sword to a club to a lightsaber to like just all that sort of stuff, as they run around in their room playing, and the other toys get in on it as well. They end up playing like other characters and stuff like that. They don't have anything like, all of the descriptors are like personality as opposed to physical. So I feel like maybe this is a lonely child because and sort of fitting with raising money for Extra Life, maybe this child is like a little sick. Maybe it's a child during the pandemic and they're just stuck inside without any brothers or sisters. Although we've already established that there's maybe that's why they're lonely. They hit a kid with whiskey once, and now kids won't come over and play. The word got around. But anyway, I see them like telling like lots of like just playing make believe and telling up a lot of stories. Who would be the ideal friend for your child? I feel like it would need to be. I feel like it would either need to be like a sweet child, or maybe a silly child, someone who would play along with them. Yeah, I like that. Um, and I think as far as whiskey is concerned, like really at this point, any kid, like get this kid a friend, like holy, um, like I've been a sword, a lance, and a rifle just today. Um, Plus, this kid tried to feed me tea. Like, just someone come and play with this kid, please. Um, um, okay, so we have our beloved, and we have the child. So for anyone who maybe just popping into chat, um, I am an unintended beloved. I'm an unintended child's toy. I am a one of those large industrial kitchen whisks that somehow ended up in this home, and the child found me, and I am now its best friend. Um, but yeah, so we're going to enter into Act 1. Before we do that, I'm just going to quickly send an extra life tweet. Um, yeah. And let's see here. Actually, it's better if I do this on the computer where I can actually get links and stuff like that. So let me quickly do that, and then we can oh, thank goodness I'm muted. Okay. All right. And yeah, hope everybody who's stopping by is having a good day. Thank you so much for coming by. I appreciate people popping in while I'm working on this stuff. It is good to have you here. I hope you're getting some enjoyment out of the games that I'm showing off. Problem. right. Boof. Yeah. Yeah, like days like today are very important to me because Extra Life is a big part of my life. This is once again, this is the link to the game that we're playing right now. If you want to check it out, download a copy for yourself. Support independent creators because they're out there making some really wonderful stuff, like this game. All right, sip of water, and then we will continue on. I should mention as well, I'm not planning to try and play through a full game of any of the things that I'm doing today. My intent with these is to sort of show off how they're played and show a bit of the gameplay, so that if you want to, if it interests or excites you, you can then go and check out the game for yourself and play it and sort of see how it finishes up. So this is Act 1, A New Life. So this is essentially, you know, the beginning. So the beginning of your time as a beloved, as you learn to grow into the lessons inscribed into your being. There is the start of the desire to protect, to care, to nurture, but now is the time to explore what that means to you and the children that find their way to you. So choose the first child that you will care for, describe them and how you came to be theirs. I think we've talked about that a lot. This is a lonely child who discovered an enormous kitchen whisk and just started carrying me around everywhere and using me for all sorts of stuff. And one day I woke up and I'm like, why am I not in the kitchen making, like, whisking up eggs or, like, you know, making a delicious meringue? Why is this kid using me like a sword? What the heck is a Jedi? I am not a lightsaber. I am a whisk. Answer the two questions associated with the child. Oh, okay. So this is part of the. So we sort of did that. We're sort of like skipping ahead a little bit. So Act 1, yeah, answer the two questions. I think I did that. My child story tells a lot of stories and desperately needs, like, as far as whiskey is concerned, any child, but a silly child would probably fit in really well with all of the incredible, like, make believe and stories. And yeah, choose a prompt from the Playmate table, Comfort table, or Guardian table. Tables, okay. Playmate, Comfort, or Guardian. I think at this point I'm still like a Playmate. I haven't really settled into anything else. I am just let's see here. Okay, there are 6 different possibilities. I think once again I'm going to just roll a die and see what comes up. 2. Let's see here. Your child has invented a fantastical new world in their mind to explore. What is this realm like, and what is your role within it? I think right now this world is like this. Just this amalgamation of. So I think this kid reads a lot of books. Like, they're a lonely kid. I was sort of a lonely kid growing up. I know I read a lot of books, so I think this kid reads a lot, and so I think this magical world is like an amalgamation of like every storybook that they've like read. Um, so there's like talking animals, and it's like sort of a fantasy world, except where there's science fiction stuff. Um, so like maybe it's a fantasy world, but there's also jetpacks. Like who knows? Because jetpacks are cool. Um, and I think my kid believes themselves to be like the equivalent of a great warrior or like a knight of the realm, and so I am a magical sword. Um, and I would much rather be in the kitchen, like whisking up eggs or pancake batter or something. But this is what makes my child happy. I am their magical sword, and so I spend my day fighting imaginary dragons and ogres and um, other horrible monsters. Um, and actually, you know what? Probably not even fighting. Um, I think it always starts off as a fight, and then because my kid is so lonely, it devolves into them like making friends with it. So now, my child has like an imaginary ogre friend, an imaginary dragon friend, and so on and so forth. Um, yeah. So I think that's the sort of like day to day of this particular child's life. Um, oh, okay. And then I was supposed to, at this point, I was supposed to go. So I wasn't supposed to answer all of the beloved questions. I was supposed to, like, at this point, go and answer a beloved question. Um, well, I've sort of answered all of them at this point. And one of them was like used as a sword or a club, so I think that fits in with what I'm talking about here. Um, and because I'm doing because I did Playmates, so one of the things like when you choose off the table, the more that you play with your child, the more entwined you become in their fun and their life. Choose one of the options from below, answer the prompt, and if appropriate, change by doing any of the following: adding, removing, and modifying a trait, adjusting your physical appearance of your beloved, describing something new about your child, um, discussing something new about the world, whether a little change or a big one, answering a beloved question. Um, so I think um, I think let's see here. I think whiskey is slowly starting to get into this. So I think I'm going to change one of my traits. I'm going to modify confused um, and turn that into acceptance. Resigned. Yeah, I think whiskey is like resigned. They finally accepted that they're just going to be, that at least for now, they're not going to be doing kitchen whisk things. They are now a magical sword and are just going to have to live with that. And then once you've done that, think about how you are lost or are passed on from your child. Well, So I think there just comes a point where my child maybe isn't as lonely anymore. Maybe slowly gets introduced to like other children and starts to have friends, and maybe doesn't have as much now that they're spending time with like other kids. They're not spending as much time alone in their room or anything like that. So, and when they do, they would much rather be like reading a book or something like that. So I think it's just a matter of I don't get passed on so much as it's just one day I just get propped up in a closet, and or maybe not even that, you know, tidy. I just get forgotten under the bed, and sit there for a while, and yeah, allow yourself to enter the dreaming as you wait for your next child. And so that's sort of what, and so what the game has built into it is dreaming of your new life is the next phase of Act 1. As you pass from one child to another, you have entered a state of dreaming. Choose the length of time you lie dreaming below and follow the instructions. So I can choose no time at all, which I guess could be for a situation where like a kid takes a toy from another kid, or a kid gives a toy to another kid. So there's no time to think, there's no time to rest. A day could go by, which is me personally resting for 5 seconds. I wonder where my child is at. A week, rest for 10 seconds, breathe deeply. A month, rest for 20 seconds, contemplate your choices. A year, rest for 40 seconds, make peace with yourself. If you rested, write about what your beloved dreamed of in the interim. Then choose who they care for next. If you have already chosen 3 children for this act, move on to Act 2 to begin the process again. Yeah, so I can stay in Act 1 and just be, you know, I'm still relatively new, and all that. But I think that's actually where I'm going to be. So then the next step would be, if I wanted to go directly on, I could just move on to Act 2. So I come out of the dreaming, and my children have grown, or my next child is a little older. You know, maybe I'm with the same child. And so, you know, I would describe much like before, I would describe the new child. Could be could be the same physical child that I have had, that I've been with all along. And just their personality has changed. They've grown up. Maybe they're not lonely anymore. Maybe they have grown into, and they're now a bold child. Like all of the being on their own for so long has given them like the, you know, they know who they are. They're confident in who they are. And so maybe they're a bold child, right? Like, you know, so it could be the same person, but a different child, if you know what I mean. And then I would carry on with Act 2 and answer some more questions. But yeah, that is Beloved. And like, I hope that was a good little look at it, for everyone. Thank you very much for coming by. Chat, and let's there we go. Yeah. What shall we do? What shall we do? If you enjoyed this game, please do swing by. I've put the link to the game in chat. I'll do it again. So please do stop by there and pick up a copy for yourself. Help support independent creators. I know they greatly appreciate that. All of these are being played in support of Extra Life. So I would love it if you went and made any kind of donation at all. There is even an option there. So I created a little while ago. I was just thinking to myself, like, what would it be like? I mean, I like playing paladins, but what would it be like to play a paladin who is also a sentient swarm of bees? And I realize that's not a question that like everyone is going to ask themselves, but I asked myself that and sort of thought about it for a while, and so I came up with something called the Oath of the Hive. And it is something you were going to have to chat with your dungeon master about before you play it, because you will have to talk with your dungeon master and convince them to let you be a sentient swarm of bees, and probably figure out what exactly that means, what your ancestry traits and stuff like that will be like. But having done that, you can then play Oath of the Hive and be a sentient swarm of bees inhabiting a suit of armor, who are also a paladin. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun. So if that sounds like something up your alley, that is pay what you want. The link is on my donation page. You can go through. You can pay nothing if you want to. If you just want to download it and check it out, you can go ahead and do that. But anything that you do pay is being donated to Extra Life as well. So that's an option if you've only got like a couple of bucks that you want to kick in. That is probably the best way to do it. Yeah. Thanks for stopping by, people. It's really nice to have you come by. And I think what I'm going to do, because we finished up a little bit early, my next block doesn't start for another half hour. So I think what I'm going to do is put up the Be Right Back screen and take a little bit of a break, a little bit of a bio break and stuff like that, and get myself set up for the next block. So thanks for coming by. I hope you enjoyed this beloved. It is a whimsical and potentially sad little game about being a toy to a child. Yeah. And we'll talk to everyone in, let's say, like 20 minutes. All right. Take care.
extra life. But first, I needed to come outside and do.
Hey there. Thanks for waiting while I took a short little break here. We're actually going to take like another short little one in just a second here, but I wanted to pop back in and just say that we're going to. What I've been doing is like at the end of each of these sort of 2 hour blocks, I've been cutting away from the stream and like ending the stream so that it records it as a smaller VOD, so that I don't end up with like a 24-hour VOD at the end of all this, because that would just be unwieldy. Um, so that is actually what I'm going to do now, and then I'm going to put up the starting soon screen. So if you're in chat, if you're just arriving in chat, don't go anywhere. The stream is still happening. I haven't stopped anything. I'm just doing the stop and then restart in order to create a more reasonable VOD length when I upload this to YouTube. So nobody panic. The stream is still here. I got you. But just give me a moment to shut things down and then restart. So hang out in chat. If you haven't followed me yet, please do give me a follow, because that will help me out with future streaming, because the sooner I can get to affiliate, the sooner I can unlock those tools for charity streaming, which is something that I want to do. So yeah, I will talk to you all in like about 10 minutes.